Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another week of the show, Sports with Mark. Don't quote me on that. It's probably not going to be my name for the long run. I'm still coming up with a name, to be honest with you guys. So we'll all figure it out together. But I appreciate everybody who's here. Welcome to the show again, and thank you for another week. We're going to talk about great topics here, and we are going to go ahead and get into the fun stuff. So so today, basically, what we're going to go ahead and talk about are Cam Newton signing with the Patriots as one of the biggest stories in the NFL right now going into the season. Him signing a deal with the Patriots. We're going to go ahead and talk about that. Then we are also going to talk about black college sports. There's been a lot of sports that are being are being talked about in the black college world. So we are going to address that and go ahead and talk about that as well. And for the end of the show, we are going to talk about top high school basketball rankings. Last week we talked about the football, about the top high school states that pretty popular with football. And so this week we are going to go ahead and talk about the basketball side of it. So we are going to dive into that as well. So let's go ahead and start the show, man. I appreciate everybody who came out. As always, you can go ahead and comment on Facebook. I have my laptop right here as usual, so we can go ahead and comment. I'll go ahead and see that. And also, if you're on YouTube, you can go ahead and comment, and I can see it right here. And if you guys want to go ahead and highlight, I can go ahead and highlight the message. We can go ahead and speak on whatever. It will be shown right here at the bottom. So we can go ahead and talk about whatever that's on your mind about the topics that we are addressing today. So by all means, let's go ahead and get started into the show this week. So over the last week, Cam Newton has recently signed with the New England Patriots for a 1 year, $1.5 million deal. Now, for a player like Cam Newton, that is a humongous fire sale for him. The Patriots got him for the cheap. And I know for a fact anybody who's excited about this is Bill Belichick, man. Anytime they can get a quarterback of his caliber for as cheap as they did, that's a win, in my opinion. And so he has to fill some big shoes. Obviously, we know Tom Brady has been there for the past like 2 decades. So he has a lot of shoes to fill in New England. So like I said, he signed for a $1.5 million deal. And so we all remember, we all know and love Cam Newton when he came out of Auburn in 2011. Was a great player. Basically did what he had to do in Carolina. He led him to some great teams, especially in 2015 where he was the MVP, right? He was the MVP with 3,000 yards, 3,837 to be exact, and also 35 passing touchdowns. And he also ran for 10 more, which led him to the league MVP. He was amazing that year. He was absolutely amazing that year, and you can just tell he was head and shoulders the MVP. He led the Panthers to a 15-1 record. Also led them to the Super Bowl, but eventually ran into a Denver Broncos team that was playing excellent defense, and Peyton Manning just had enough in the tank to lead the Denver Broncos to the Super Bowl win. That Denver team was amazing on defense, absolutely amazing. So So with Cam Newton, he had his highs, but he also had some pretty bad lows. And you can tell by the last couple of years, he was having his injuries. I was basically plaguing him for the whole year. Especially this last year, he only played 2 games, and it was over with for him for the rest of the season. And you can kind of tell Carolina was pushing him out the door. You can see Carolina. It was about that time for Cam Newton to make that change. It was coming, and it was just all but confirmed when when Carolina went ahead and released Cam Newton this last offseason. And it was about that time. Let's be realistic, man. Cam Newton time in Carolina was coming to an end, and it was an ugly situation, man. It could have been handled a lot better. They kind of left Cam Newton just hanging there, like, oh, am I gonna really play, or is this it? But anybody who can legit tell it was time for Cam Newton to make a change of scenery. And so he got that with the Patriots for far less than his value. Like a 1 year, $1.5 million deal for Cam Newton. That's not Cam Newton. That's not a Cam Newton type deal, in my opinion. But I mean, he needed to play. He needed to play for a new team, man. Who else but the Patriots, who's transitioning away from Tom Brady, who's in Tampa Bay now. So we bring Cam Newton. I think this was like a no-brainer because obviously the Patriots was without a quarterback for a long time, and so it was about that time. It was about that time that the Patriots made that move for a quarterback, and why not go after Cam Newton, who's a big guy who can create offense with his legs. He also has a powerful arm. He's not as accurate as maybe he should be, but all in all, he's still a good quarterback in my opinion. Now that he's got a year to just rehab his body and basically just take the year off to mentally get his mind right, I think it's going to be a good bounce back season for him, and then eventually they will go ahead and some team will pay him next season, whether it be the Patriots bringing him back or the Patriots decide, hey, we're just going to move on and try to get another young quarterback. But now that Cam Newton's in New England, it's going to be different. So let's look at this as in a Patriots fan perspective, right? Now, last year, Tom Brady, you can obviously tell he's not the same Tom Brady that he was winning all the Super Bowls years ago. He was just kind of managing the game, just, doing these dink and dunk passes, like, and it's worked for him. It has worked for him, but so let's think of this. That defense in New England is amazing. In the beginning of the season last year, they were so dominant. It just made absolutely no sense how dominant that team was. Nobody was scoring against them. And later on in the year, you can kind of see that kind of fizzled away. They was allowing some scores, and the defense was, not looking as invincible as they were in the beginning of the season. So we all know that defense is still good. That defense is still key, and that they are going to be well. But let's look at our offensive side of the ball. The Patriots really don't have that much talent on the offensive side of the ball. Tom Brady was just so good for the New England Patriots that he made basically average wide receivers look way better than they were. What's going on, Jacob? I appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be very weird to see Cam Newton in the AFC North. I said the same thing. It just doesn't feel like a Cam Newton move, but yeah, I mean that offense isn't wired well. Like I said, Tom Brady was so good in that division, was so good for that team that he made average wide receivers look great. And now it's not the same with Cam Newton. Cam Newton definitely doesn't have the arm Tom Brady has at all. Like, let's be real. Tom Brady was so accurate. It was just amazing, the things that he did for all those years. And now it's like, well, what are we gonna do now? Patriots offensive line has been very well for the past like decade. That's because Tom Brady never ran outside the pocket, so they had to have a strong offensive line. So that's something they can work on, having a strong offensive line. But I mean, the running game is average. Running game is average. They really don't have, any major wide receivers. They haven't had a great wide receiver in New England since Randy Moss, to be honest with you. So I don't see how well the Patriots offense is going to be. So I think the division is still wide open. The division is still wide open. I think Buffalo has risen to. I honestly think Buffalo could win that division. They have rose to the occasion. They was playing the Patriots tough last season. So this has to be that step up year for Buffalo. I think Buffalo has a chance to really make that move and become the top dog in the division. So I just can't see Cam Newton really making an impact. Well, he's going to make an impact. I don't know if it's going to be enough for the Patriots to be contenders in the AFC. I mean, I think all roads lead to the Chiefs. You have to beat the best to be the best, and obviously the Chiefs are the best. I mean, they're bringing back basically their whole Super Bowl winning team next year to play next year. And when you got Patrick Mahomes, there you go. I mean, what else do I need to say? Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. I said it. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. So I could see maybe the Patriots doing like an 8-8 season and fighting for a wild card position. It might be the outside looking in, and it's going to be hard to see them really making much of the moves like we seen the Patriots done. What's going on, Sean? Appreciate you. Raiders are the best. Yeah, man. I'm trying not to be biased, but I'm gonna leave that one on the shelf. But yeah, so the Patriots, like I said, I see them having an 8-8 season and kind of being on the outside looking in, and trying to fight for a wild card position, maybe with a Pittsburgh or another team. It's really not coming to the top of my head, but Cam Newton for a 1 year, $1.5 million deal. Like I said, that's a big get for Bill Belichick. They got the quarterback that they needed. It's going to be a big bounce back year for Cam. He really has to make something happen this year so he can get his money for next offseason. And man, this New England Patriots got a big shoes to fill with Tom Brady. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all works out. So we are going to go ahead and move forward from the Cam Newton talks, and we are going to talk about Black college sports. Now, Black college sports has been in the limelight a little bit more often this year than other years, and we all know it's not much talk about Black college sports in the world. So I'm going to bring it to you. So if you're watching, this is what you get. All right. So let's begin on the basketball side of Black college sports. So recent commit, his name is Makur Maker. He is the younger cousin of Thon Maker, who is currently playing for the Detroit Pistons. He was one of the top recruits this year coming out of high school. So Makur Maker, he's a 6'11" power forward. He was playing for Hillcrest Prep in Phoenix, Arizona. And so recently, well, real recently, like as of today, he has committed to Howard University in Washington, D.C. And that is humongous. And let me tell you why. This man literally had offers from top basketball schools in the United States. We're talking about Kentucky. We're talking about USC, UCLA's, Kansas, just to name a few. We're talking about top basketball programs where you're a one and done. You're a one and done player. You do your 1 year at school. You're in the NBA automatically when you go to those schools. He turned down all those schools to go to Howard University. Yes, Howard University. That is so big, it makes no sense how big that is. So he recently committed over his Twitter. And now, like I said on my first show when we first started this is going to open floodgates of many other top recruits trying to go into historically Black colleges and universities. When I said Mikey Williams may have started something, this is it. Hey, Lenora, I appreciate you coming through. Finally, African Americans that are great in sports go to HBU. Very smart. Absolutely. It's absolutely smart. And like I said in my first show, if you're talented, they're going to find you. They're going to find this man eventually. You honestly think NBA scouts are not going to go to Howard University and find their talent for their team? Of course they are. And if he goes to the HBCU and he balls out, if he averaging 30 points a game, you mean to tell me he won't be a top pick just because he goes to Howard University and turned down Kansas University? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They are going to find him. And like I was saying, Mikey Williams opened the floodgates for many of these top recruits going to historically Black colleges and universities. And this is not going to stop. This is going to continue for different players who's been thinking about this for past years, right? They're like, man, I really want to go to HBCU, but I got a chance to go to Kentucky. I'm taking it. All I'm saying is, why not? Why not go to an HBCU and get that experience? It is such an amazing experience, right? Going to an HBCU, being around, the same people who look like you, getting the same education, just doing something positive. And it hurts because I have seen many people on his Twitter, on Bleacher Report's Facebook, and I will read the comments, right? I would read the comments and say, and I would read them, and it would say, why would you choose an HBCU over going to Kentucky? The facilities are worse, and I honestly seen one person said that you won't get the same education as you would going to a Kentucky. That blew my mind. Now, Now, I can say honestly that he was a younger guy. I'm going to say that. So that blew my mind, right? That people can be so oblivious to the fact that HBCUs can have the same or even better education than any other school in the United States. And we're talking about Howard University. We're talking about Howard, one of the top HBCUs in all of America. It is not easy to get into Howard. It's not easy. It's not cheap to get into Howard either. I'm gonna let y'all know that. This is it's Howard has an amazing education system, and many great people came out of Howard University. I can't name them off the top of my head, but many great people has came out of Howard University. So it's mind blowing. Then I also see comments saying, "What are HBCUs?" That's crazy that people do not know what historically black colleges and universities are. And it's honestly, it's the media's fault. I'm just have to be honest with you. It's the media's fault. We we see these games, we see these football games on football and basketball games on ESPN maybe every other week. They may have one primetime game and one primetime game on maybe ESPNU, which isn't exactly the biggest platform on ESPN. Obviously, ESPN and ESPN2 are basically two of the biggest platforms that ESPN have for primetime games. And you go on ESPNU, which people are like, it's the throwaway games. They're like, okay, we need to fill this somehow, some way. And then you'll have on the rest of the black colleges football games and basketball games on ESPN3, where you basically have to pay to watch that. It's not cool. So people really don't know what historically black colleges and universities are, which is they're basically older than any other colleges in America. We're talking about late 1800s. These schools are mid 1800s, 1870s, 1890s. School historically black colleges were founded. That is amazing. So I appreciate Amber who's came out. We have, the Howard University's alumni who's came out of Howard. So that's amazing to really think about how people do not know what historically black colleges and universities. So this is why I say this is humongous. This is now showing that these schools are real. These historically black colleges are getting these players now. They're getting these top players. And like I said, imagine if LeBron James Jr. goes to historically black colleges and universities. His dad has so much pull in the world, not even NBA world, but just life in general, that his son goes to a HBCU. You mean to tell me other people are not going to follow that? Trust me. People are going to go to their school. So I applaud McCord Maker for making that hard decision. Like I said, we're talking about top schools that he could have went to: Kentucky, Kansas. He could have went to USC, UCLA. He went to Howard University. Humongous step for historically black colleges and universities. So I applaud him. Hopefully he can go out there. He can be a top pick. And like I said in the first show, you hear that top pick, a lottery pick from Howard University. That is amazing. So we are going to continue to the football side. So over the past week, we have had some recent HBCUs leave for different conferences. So let me give you the backstory. So over the past years in 2018 to be exact, schools from the MEAC conference are leaving for better opportunities. Basically to get their money, so they can have those better facilities as those Kentuckys, as they say. So it began in 2018. Hampton University was the first school to leave the MEAC conference for the Big South Conference, and they have been there for the past year. They have taken all their sports and they moved them to the Big South Conference, which is not a black college conference per se. So they're representing, historically black colleges and universities in the Big South Conference. So fast forward to now, 2020, North Carolina A&T has decided to leave in July 1st of 2021 to the Big South Conference. So they're going to follow in Hampton's footsteps. They're going to go ahead and move up to the Big South Conference. So they're going to go ahead and move up all their sports over there. And that's going to hurt the MEAC conference. Not only is that going to hurt, just recently over the past couple of weeks, Florida A&M University, which is called FAMU, and also Bethune-Cookman, both schools in Florida are going to move to the MEAC, to the SWAC conference, which is the other black college football conference or black sports conference. And that hurts. That hurts. MEAC, that hurts because basically those are two of the top schools for the MEAC as far as popularity goes. And the reason why I say that, because the SWAC has so many popular schools over there. They have Southern University, Texas Southern University, Prairie View University, just Alcorn State University. The list just goes on and on for the SWAC. They have so many schools that are well known and people know because they watch the games, they watch the bands. So they just added Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M University. Florida A&M University has been top of the HBCU football world as far as attendance. They show out for those football games, and their band, both of their bands, top notch. Just going to the SWAC. You know how much money they're going to get? That is absolutely amazing. So so Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman are going to move to the SWAC as soon as July 1st, 2021. So they're going to stay in the MEAC for this year. Then they're going to go ahead and make their move. So they're going to have that. So both of them are going to have a big year for both of them. They want to go out from the MEAC. They're going to make a statement. They want to be the top. They want to be the top dog there. So let's think about this. With the loss of Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman, also in NC-A&T, who was another football powerhouse in the MEAC. We're talking about competing for championships every year. NC-A&T is one of them. And Florida A&M, they was the two top dogs in the MEAC last year. So like I said, with them leaving, this leaving, I have my notes right here. So they leave Coppin State in the MEAC, Coppin State, Delaware State, Howard University, Maryland Eastern Shore, Morgan State, Norfolk State, North Carolina Central, and South Carolina State. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They leave them 8 schools in the MEAC. And let's be 100% real. I think only 6 of those schools are football playing schools, and that's like the bare minimum of how you can remain a conference. You have to have 6 teams, and that's tough because realistically, those schools are not exactly the most popular historically black colleges and universities out in the land. Now, I'd say Howard is probably the most popular school in the MEAC conference. But we're talking about Coppin State. We don't know much about Coppin State. We don't know much about Delaware State. We don't know much about Maryland Eastern Shore. We may know a little bit about Norfolk State, but it might not be as much because Hampton left and that was their rivals. And we know about South Carolina State. Now, South Carolina State has been a good football school, but, over the past couple of years, they really haven't been, too up in the limelight like they used to, because North Carolina A&T and Florida A&M has been taking over the conference, whereas back in maybe 2008, when South Carolina State was like the football king of the MEAC. So they have a lot of making up to do. And it's no surprise to see both Florida schools leave the MEAC for the SWAC, right? Because this is humongous rivalry. Those two schools, when they get together, they generate one of the biggest games in HBCU. So, of course, they're going to go. Of course, Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman is going to leave together. They're a package deal. Let's be 100% real. Let's talk about out here in California, where I'm at right now. You think if USC leaves the Pac-12, UCLA is not going to follow? Heck yeah, they are. They generate so much money. Now, we can all say, oh, yeah, of course they're going to play each other regardless what conference they're in. But it's much bigger than that. Let's say USC and UCLA are both fighting for the Pac-12 South. That's a bigger game than what USC is in a division by themselves, and it doesn't matter if they win or lose against UCLA, they're going to be in it regardless. USC and UCLA, they legit don't like each other. So that's a huge rivalry. They generate so much money for both schools, USC and UCLA. USC-UCLA rivalry. That's exactly what's going on here with Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman. They're a package deal. They generate humongous dollars when they play against each other. Of course, they're going to the SWAC together. They are like this. So the SWAC just got this. The SWAC is on it now. This SWAC is on it now. They have so many schools that people love that wants to go and they want to play for those schools because they know about those HBCUs. And the SWAC do an amazing job of keeping these schools in the limelight, because they have the games and then they have the bands that generate them money as well. We all know about the SWAC bands. We all know about the Prairie Views, the Southerns, the Gramblins, the just Texas Southerns, man. And then you add Bethune-Cookman, who's an amazing band. And then you also have Florida A&M. Those are two of the biggest bands in the country. But they get like 100 people in the band. That's crazy. and they all just moved to the SWAC. He is how you doing, Greg? Yeah, he is. He's the younger cousin of he's the other cousin of Thon Maker. Yeah, so he's going to Howard University, and he's going to play for Howard. So he's committed this he's committed today, earlier today. So he's going to go ahead and make that jump to Howard. So yeah, Prairie View is an excellent school. Prairie View is an excellent school. You know, football, they could be hot and cold. I think they was hot last year. But their band is one top notch. They have one of the biggest rivalries when they go to the State Fair Classic in Dallas against Grambling. So that's a huge money maker as well. I had the chance to experience that one day, and yeah, the State Fair Classic is huge. Prairie View is huge. So SWAC football, SWAC sports in general, man, it's great. And so we're going to fall back to the MEAC one more time. So now they're in a little bit of a pickle in baseball. So from what I heard, the baseball-wise, it's not too many baseball playing schools in the MEAC. So they could be out of the conference, and whoever are the baseball playing schools in the MEAC can go and be an associate member to another conference. So they just play that sport in that conference. So they can go to any college they want to, unless the MEAC decides to bring in associate members for themselves. Now, here's my idea of what the MEAC can do. They can go out and find other lower division. Do they still play Red River? I believe they do. Yeah, I do think they still do that. So yeah. So the MEAC, what they can do is they can bring in associate members so they can play baseball, so they can still become a conference. Now, what I was saying is they can bring up maybe schools who are Division II, bring them up. Now, a lot of schools are a little bit hesitant because of that, because they may not have the top workout facilities that other HBCUs might have. So they don't want to move up. Some schools don't want to pay. They have to pay $1.6 million to move up to a Division I school, and a lot of schools don't want to go ahead and do that. Now, my idea is they could bring up Morehouse. Morehouse is an excellent school that brings in a lot of money, brings in a lot of students, so and their education is top notch, that can compete with the other D1 schools like the Howards, like the North Carolina Central, like the Morgan States, Norfolk States. Because Morehouse has an excellent school system. It's a lot of great people that came out of Morehouse. So Morehouse can definitely bring them to school. I don't know if they want to pay that money to bring them up, but why not bring Morgan to the MEAC? Got a football school. They got basketball. What's the hold up? Also think about Tuskegee, another school that they can bring up, another smaller school they can bring up for football. Just anything to get the MEAC back to where they need to be. And the MEAC has a lot of work. And I happened to watch the interview with on HBCU Game Day, and the MEAC commissioner, you can tell he was trying to remain calm, and he was trying to keep the spirits high of the current schools that's still in the MEAC. He wants to keep their spirits high, like, hey, don't forget about the schools we have now. We still have great schools. You can kind of see they're in panic mode. They're like, oh gosh, like, what are we gonna do, man? These people are asking questions. The media is on our heads now. We got to figure something out, right? It's panic mode for the MEAC right now. They have some schools that really need to they really need to really make an adjustment, and they need to bring that popularity up to the SWAC level, because the SWAC is on it right now. The SWAC is on it right now. The SWAC is like Birdman hand rubs right now, just in the mirror looking at themselves. Yeah, this is it. We're making moves next year. Next year is going to be absolutely crazy. So I know they're happy. And it's a lot of great stuff going on in Blast College sports. I cannot lie to you guys, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. So we're going to keep a lookout for that, and we are going to go and continue on to our last talk of this show. High school basketball state rankings. Now, last week we did the football states, and it was Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, California, and Texas. Those were the top 5 schools that were for football. Yeah, the SWAC has been good for a long time. I just seen comment. Yeah, the SWAC is on it. So we are going to continue on to the basketball side of things. And so we're going to talk about basically basketball states who love basketball, who brings talent out of their state. And so let's begin. So with number 5, I have Indiana. Yes, Indiana. And let me tell you why I put number 5 for Indiana. And like I said, if you want to go ahead and comment before I continue on with anything, you have comments or questions, go ahead and put them right there. On Facebook, I have to see you right here, and I have to yell them out just right here. So when I see them, if you go on YouTube, I can go ahead and put them right here, just like I did with Amber, my sister. She commented on YouTube, and I'm able to put the comment right here. So if you go on YouTube page, you can go ahead and comment. And so, yeah, so let's continue. So Indiana loves basketball, guys. I don't know if you've seen Hoosiers. We're talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. They love basketball out there. And it's kind of hard to believe, because nobody talks about Indiana ever, and there's not much to do out there in Indiana but to basically play sports or be in cornfields, I guess. I never been to Indiana, so I don't know, but basically you can go to sporting events and hang out, and they love sports out there from all different types of levels, from high school up to the Pacers. Oh man, they love the Pacers in Indiana. I can remember back in the day when the Indiana Pacers was in the playoffs and they was playing against the Los Angeles Lakers, the finals, playing against the Los Angeles Lakers. That when the Lakers went to the Pacers' hometown, there was screaming and yelling, like full blown, like you would think that somebody was like going crazy or something. These guys was full throat screaming and yelling for the Pacers. Reggie Miller was the man. People loved Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller is a California person from Riverside. They welcomed him with open arms, and when they was playing against Los Angeles, they were like, man, Reggie's playing against his own home team. Reggie's playing against his own home team, right? And they loved him like he was their own. Like he was from Indiana. He's from California. That's how much they love basketball in Indiana. And one of the top players from Indiana came out was Larry Legend. We all know Larry Legend, Larry Bird. was a low key player, but he was feisty on the court. He was feisty on the court. Indiana, oh man, they love basketball. So that's our fifth. That's our 15. Indiana. Number 4, I have Illinois. Basically Chicago. You know, Chicago is a predominantly black city. Depends on where you're at. I mean, I've never been to Chicago, so I don't know what I'm talking about. If you're from Chicago, go ahead and comment. Let me know. So, Illinois, basically, Chicago has some of the best basketball players in the NBA right now. And the WNBA, let's be real. Candace Parker, she's from Chicago. Jabari Parker's from Chicago himself. I don't think they're related, so let's not go there. Also, Anthony Davis from the Lakers, another Chicago guy. Derrick Rose, another Chicago guy. And Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett is from Chicago. And the Big Ticket is one of the best players the NBA have ever seen. That's just Chicago, man. They're a tough city, man. They bring out some tough players out there in Chicago. I mean, you got to be tough living in Chicago. You know how Chicago, it's not easy living in Chicago. So you have to be tough, playing in Chicago. Chicago is an amazing basketball city. They love their high school up to Chicago Bulls. We all know how Michael Jordan did his thing in Chicago. The city loved him. It just gave him all the love that they had to Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, the whole the whole Chicago team in the 90s. It was an amazing time in Chicago, and the future for Chicago was bright. It's no stopping Chicago. They're still going to bring out amazing talent in Chicago. So let's be real there. Chicago is going to be amazing for years to come. There's always going to be someone for Chicago who's going to rise up and join the NBA. All right. So number 4 is Chicago. So coming in third is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is another tough city. And we know Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania fans do not mind voicing their frustrations if their team stinks. They will literally boo their own home team. I've seen it with the Philadelphia Eagles games, Philadelphia 76ers. Oh gosh. Before they became good, now Philly stunk. They booed the mess out of them. So Philly is a tough town. Philly is a tough town, but they love basketball. They love sports in general, but basketball, they bring out some talent in Philly. Earl of Pearl Monroe. What's up, Marlon? I appreciate you coming out. All right, we can talk about it. I got a little time. So we're talking about Chicago. About you think Anthony Davis going home? I don't think so. I think Anthony Davis is one of those people who loves to be in a talented team. That's why he left New Orleans. I don't think New Orleans really had too many good players for his liking. So that's why he asked for a trade, and the Lakers obliged to that. And he's winning. It's the first time he really had a great supporting cast with LeBron James. So no, I don't think he's leaving. I think if he did leave, he'll go to a little bit a better team. But I don't think he's leaving Los Angeles. If that's going to answer your question, he's not going to leave Los Angeles. I think Los Angeles did enough for him to keep him there. Now, it might be different when LeBron leaves or he just starts thinking about retirement. Who are they going to bring in to complement Anthony Davis? Maybe a Trae Young. I mean, Atlanta is really bad, so he needs to go somewhere. So why not bring in Trae Young to Los Angeles? Now they're going. Now Atlanta's going to do everything in their power to keep Trae Young in Atlanta, but I mean, it's up to him wholeheartedly at the end of the day. So I don't think I don't think Anthony Davis is going to lead the Lakers at all. So he's going to stay. He's going to stay long term. So yeah, let's continue on. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has some of the best basketball players come out of Pennsylvania. Earl the Pearl Monroe, Wilt Chamberlain, Wilt Chamberlain, as Shaq like to call him. Excuse me. Kyle Lowry from Pennsylvania, and come on, man. Kobe Bryant is from Pennsylvania. Kobe Bryant's pretty much from everywhere, but I mean, basically, he went to high school in Pennsylvania, so he's from Pennsylvania. And Kobe was one of the toughest guys in the world. Yeah, but for 1 year though, plus Zach LaVine's unhappy expressed interest to play in LA. There we go. Why would Anthony want to leave? Players want to play for LA. LA is a hot destination, so why would you want to leave to go to somewhere like, I don't know. He can play for New York, but New York is an absolute crazy loony bin. As long as they have Dolan in office, oh my gosh, the New York Knicks is never going to be good. They even threw Spike Lee out, and he's like the top New York Knicks fan in the world. Anthony Davis is going nowhere, so he's going to stay in Los Angeles. He's going to be there. So yeah, Kobe Bryant was from Philly. So Philadelphia brings out some tough players, right? Philadelphia is an amazing basketball town. They love sports. They love basketball, man. Philadelphia is amazing. You got to give them love. So Philly comes in third. So coming into second. You know what? Let's go ahead and change the topic. I'm talking about high school and we talking about the NBA. We doing all that. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and change it, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I can do that. It's my show. Whoops. So yeah, so Philly comes in third. It's a tough town in Philly. They love basketball. It's amazing. So Marlou is hilarious. All right, so number 2. Who comes in number 2 is New York. New York comes in number 2. So we talk about New York becoming the Mecca that's known as the Mecca of basketball. We have known New York to be a lot of flashy players who's come out of New York. Some of the best street ball players has came out of New York. Some of the best street ball players has came out of New York. Players you never heard about. Players you have never heard about has come out of New York. So we know that. And New York has basketball courts all throughout their boroughs, all throughout their I believe it's like 5 or 6 boroughs: Manhattan, Harlem, Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens, I believe, is the boroughs. They have basketball courts just like throughout the whole city. Beautiful basketball courts. I had the luxury to go to Holcomb Rucker Park in Harlem when I had the chance to go out there and visit. That court is amazing. And we're talking about NBA players going all the way to Harlem just to play. Thank you. Thank you, Marlo. That's what I thought. I knew I missed one. I knew it was 6, Staten Island. Thank you, Marlo. So basically, we're talking about absolute beautiful courts in New York, and it's some great talent who never gets that shine to make it to the NBA. Never gets that shine, but it doesn't matter to them. They just love playing basketball out there in New York. Love it. And then not only that, it goes up to the NBA. They love their Knicks. They love their Nets, even though the Knicks absolutely stinks right now. And Brooklyn is just an average basketball team, but they're better than the New York Knicks. They love them. They love them regardless. So New York definitely comes in to number 2. And here we go. Number 1. Y'all may think I'm biased, but I have to say it. It's California. California comes in as the number 1 basketball school, in my opinion. California over the past years has, as we can tell, Marley expressed his frustration, but I appreciate you commenting. That's what I want you guys. I want you guys to feel comfortable and say what you have to say. Yes, California comes in number 1. Over the past couple of years, California has brought the best NBA superstars in the league. We're talking about James Harden, California kid. And we're talking about Russell Westbrook, California kid. California has, and those are MVP players. California has so much talent. And then we're forgetting about, and then we're talking about, we occupy the whole west coast of the country. That's true. I mean, that's why they have the best talent. California has the best talent in the NBA. Then we're talking about DeMar DeRozan, who's a hooper, low-key hooper. He plays in San Antonio, but we were talking about Toronto. We're talking about close to making the finals, right? And they were talking about up-and-coming talents in the NBA now who's going to make noise in the league. We're talking about Lonzo Ball from California. We're talking about LaMelo Ball, who's going to be a top 3 pick in the lottery. Then we're talking about Onyeka Okongwu, who grew up in California. He's going to be a lottery pick. And then we have a lot of pickup pro-am basketball leagues just like New York. Talking about Venice Beach Ball, and then we're talking about the Drew League, which many rappers and entertainers goes to. So the Drew League is an amazing spot for basketball players. So for the sake of time, California definitely comes in the number 1 spot. So that's my top 5. So we have Indiana. Oh gosh, what's my notes? Indiana, Illinois, Pennsylvania, New York, and California, who's pretty much wraps up the list. So I want to thank you guys for another week of excellent sports topics. Next week, we're going to go ahead and continue on to sports topics. And I also have a guest coming through for my first guest of the show. We have Miss Lucretia Hallman, who is the owner and the coach of the Texas Revolution in I believe it's Arlington, Texas. I could be wrong, or Dallas, Texas. Yeah, I mean they're basically all right there in that little bubble of that part of Texas. So we are going to talk to her basically about the team and just get to know the team a little bit better and how they operate out there in Texas. So we are going to go ahead and have her on as a guest of the show next week. So be sure to tune in next week for that. And I will see you again, same time here, noon to 1 Pacific Standard Time. And we are going to go ahead and talk about great things and do like we always do every week. All right. So I appreciate you again for all the comments, all the likes, all the shares on Facebook. I appreciate each and every one of you guys who's tuned in every week. And we're going to go ahead and keep this train rolling. And we're going to continue on next week. So I hope everybody has a good 4th of July. And we'll see you again soon. Peace.